Hey Seattle hockey fans, Erica Lindsay Ayala here, and it is a Seattle Kraken game day. It's been a while since I've been on the same exact time zone or on the same exact coast as the Seattle Kraken, but that is the case today. Thankful that the Seattle Kraken are on the East Coast along with me. But on this episode, we are going to hear from Yanni Gourde. And again, we're hearing the revenge game, but this seems to hit a little bit different. Then you're going to hear from Dave Hakstol as he talks about some of the lineup changes, also have the line rushes as reported by Marissa and Jemmy. And then finally, we'll get into the stats and facts that you need to know before puck drop tonight. All that and more coming up on this episode of Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
And again, welcome to Locked On Kraken. We appreciate you making Locked On Kraken your first listen of the day. And today's episode is brought to you by StatHero. It is the first of its kind daily fantasy sports platform where it's you versus the house in a head-to-head fantasy matchup, winner take all. Sign up for free right now at stathero.com/hockey and use promo code hockey for a 100% deposit match. On today's episode, as promised, we are going to get into the Yanni Gourde revenge game. But first, I actually think the quote of the pre-game skate, or the morning skate, I should say, came from Dave Hakstol. Here's what he had to say about his team heading in to Tampa.
You know, I've talked about it a little bit over the last few weeks. It's, you know, we're not looking for anything feel good here. We're working to build wins. The other night we built a quality win. You know, and it was, you know, in a real tight hockey game that went right down to the wire. So that was a good 2 points for us. You got to turn the page quickly in this league. You know, we had, you know, full day of travel yesterday, and now right back into it here against the defending Cup champions.
I like this because I feel that not only the team, but also Dave Hakstol are starting to take more responsibility for themselves as a team. That was certainly not the case in the toddler years, if you will, of the Seattle Kraken development that happened in October, November. That was a brutal time, folks. Hopefully those days are gone, as one of my favorite bands, Haim, once sang. Anyway, we're going to keep this party going because, of course, the big story for a lot of people is Yanni Gourde returning. And I talked about in the open that this one hits different. Why? Because although there are former Stanley Cup champions on the Seattle Kraken roster, Yanni Gourde is the only one that is a consecutive two-time and essentially defending champion with the Seattle Kraken this season. And here's what Yanni had to say about returning to Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely special. Like, can't get that feeling. Like, last time I stepped on that ice, I was lifting the Stanley Cup, so it's really special. And coming back here, it's like, brings all those memories back, and like I said, I'm super excited. It's kind of weird, like skating, going in this locker room and not the other one, and like everything is kind of when you're completely different when you used to play here. So, but like I said, I'm thrilled for tonight. I can't wait. I'll just be myself. I'm not too worried about that. I think I'm gonna go out there, play my game, not overthink. Not overdo anything, just do what I do, and hopefully we have a good result. Yeah, I mean, we're still trying to find our identity. I think last few games we did a better job of like managing the puck better, taking better decision, like all those little things, blocking shots, like doing what it takes to win games. And I think at the end of the day, if you do that, you put yourself in a good position to win games. And yeah, I mean, we got to keep building and keep finding that what works for us.
Literally, the last time he was on the ice was when he was winning a Stanley Cup championship. I love that Yanni also talked about he and his family going to visit some of his former teammates. He joked about trying to get into, one of the meetings and being booted out. But Yanni Gourde also talked about being Yanni Gourde. He had a quote earlier in the year, like, Yanni gonna be Yanni, or whatever the case is. And I absolutely love that about Yanni Gourde, and I believe it. And later in the show, we're going to hear from Dave Hakstol. We'll hear from him again, I should say. And he talks about the character of Yanni Gourde, knowing that this is going to be a big game for him. But, some of the things that he wants to see as far as Yanni trying to manage, or even just kind of manage in the case of actually just kind of absorbing and enjoying the moment, but also what Yanni brings and what kind of a player he is throughout his career, but certainly for the Seattle Kraken. So, coming up next, we are let's go through the stats. I like running through the stats. Let's know what we got to know for this game. And then at the end of the show, actually, we'll hear from Dave Hakstol, and we'll go through the roster, including some players with updates on status and stuff like that. But right now, I want to make sure you know about our partner StatHero. Talked about it at the beginning of the show, but no one plays daily fantasy sports to lose. Like, winning feels so much better. And I know we know that as Kraken fans. Like, we're just starting to get an appetite for winning. And doesn't it feel better? But in order to win in traditional fantasy sports, you are it's hard to come by, because it's a long-term losing proposition, because you never know who or what you're up against. And that's where StatHero shows you their lineup in an innovative way. They show you the lineup before you play, and you handpick the team you want. So it's a one-on-one face-off in the true sense of the term. This is a never-before-seen innovation of fantasy sports and sports betting that StatHero has come up with. And why? Because you don't have to compete against thousands of experts and unknowns. StatHero puts you in control. With StatHero, you are in control of the stakes, and you decide how much you're going to play for. And StatHero has no choice but to take it, because they're daring you to beat them. So absolutely love that. And so what we want you to do is you can sign up for free right now at stathero.com/hockey and use promo code hockey for 100% on your deposit match. That's stathero.com. That's stathero.com/hockey, promo code hockey for a 100% match. stathero.com/hockey with promo code hockey for a 100% match. Terms and conditions apply. All right, folks, so let's get into the stats and facts. We are playing today the Tampa Bay Lightning, two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. They are sitting on an 11-4-3 record. Their record at home is 6-3-2. The Seattle Kraken are at 6-12-1 on the season, 13 points, and our road record in the last 9 games is 1-6-1. Yowza! So we got some work to do in general, but certainly on the road. So let's see if we can parlay some of that success that we've had at home at CPA onto the road. You'll hear from Dave again later in the show, but spoiler alert, Philip Grubauer is starting. He's at a .890 save percentage, 6 wins, 8 losses. If we head over to NHL.com, pulling this up for you on the screen, we see that in the last 10 games, both teams are currently on a 2-game winning streak. So someone's getting that snapped today. That'll be interesting to see. And by somebody, I mean Tampa. Am I right? Let's see what we have on the power play. Tampa has the 13th overall ranked power play to the Seattle Kraken's 21st overall. The Kraken power play is getting better. Jared McCann in particular is crushing it. And at the penalty kill, the Tampa Bay Lightning are 6th overall in the league compared to the Seattle Kraken at 18th. Face-offs is just about even, but the Tampa Bay Lightning are 19th overall in the league, where the Seattle Kraken are 21st overall. Goals for the Seattle Kraken average 2.8 goals per game, 18th overall, whereas Tampa Bay is at a 3.17, 11th overall. And here it goes, goals against, 3.63 for the Seattle Kraken, 31st in the league, almost last, whereas it's a 2.83 goals against or goals given up, 14th overall for Tampa. So statistically speaking, the Seattle Kraken are going to have to get it done defensively. These numbers they're not in their favor. The odds are not in their favor, but they haven't been for the last few games. What the Seattle Kraken did have, though, is home ice advantage. That is no more. You're going to have a riled up crowd, I'm sure, full on Thanksgiving leftovers and the like. Players to watch. I already mentioned McCann, especially on the power play. We're going to go over the units that Marissa and Jemmy tweeted out earlier today. Schwartzy is crushing it. You've got Stamkos and Hedman, of course, for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And another thing I want to show you. You know I love going over this, but let's go to what the Seattle Kraken said, or what they put out. Let's go to the period-by-period breakdown of goals. Goals by period. The Seattle Kraken are scoring their most goals as of late in the third period, with 22 goals in the third, 19 in the second frame, and only 13 goals in the first period. They give up the most goals also in the third period as of right now, although it's more evenly spread out. 25 goals in the third period, 22 goals in the first period, and 21 in the middle frame. The Tampa Bay Lightning score most of their goals, but not by a great margin, in the third period. 21 goals in the third period as compared to 19 goals in the second. So we're about even for both teams, or we're exactly even for both teams in goals scored in the second period. They give up the most goals in the third period. So this is going to be a very interesting game. I think whatever team gets the early start can score, and maybe score multiple times in the first period. That could be an advantage. Now, we'll see how much the travel affects and impacts the Seattle Kraken. I've joked before that maybe the Seattle Kraken need to simulate 2 periods of hockey so that they start the first like they do the third traditionally. And you know what? Now that they're crossing time zones and playing on the East Coast, that might be something that they have to consider. Either way, have to get an early start for the Seattle Kraken. However you crack it, that's how it has to go. Power play goals, we talked about it a little bit, so I'm not going to go over it too much here. But coming up next, you're going to hear from Dave Hakstol, some of his keys to the game, and I'll break down for you what Marissa and Jemmy saw at morning skate, and we'll talk about some players that we're not going to see in the lineup. But right now, let me tell you about BetOnline.ag. It remains the #1 spot for all your sports action. We're past Thanksgiving now, so now it's time. If you've been giving, now it's time to go get your money. And the best way to do that is to head over to betonline.ag. It is an updated interface, more props, more odds, and more lines than ever before. And it's not just football, it's not just basketball. Obviously, they have NHL, but we're also talking boxing, UFC, even your favorite Vegas casino games. So take advantage of everything that they have to offer in the 2021-22 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline is stuffed with deals as we continue on in this Thanksgiving weekend. All right, folks, let's hear from Dave Hakstol. I already gave you that we're going to get Groovy starting, but here's what Dave had to say about the team, about Yanni Gourde, and about what has to happen tonight for the Kraken to be successful.
He may be at center. I mean, Ryan Donato will go in tonight, so that'll be the change in our forward group with Yanni coming out. But in terms of combinations, that's we'll we got a couple decisions yet to make there. Obviously, Blackie played a little bit of center 2 nights ago, so both he and Donnie are fully capable of jumping in and playing up the middle. Gruby is in net. been a difference maker for us. You look at different times of the game, and just the confidence that he's given the group in front of him has been huge. Both are critical. The other night we won the specialty teams battle by 1, and we won the hockey game by 1. So, those are at this, when you get into these tight games, specialty teams are very, very important. Not only in terms of either changing or building momentum, but obviously the ultimate result of the hockey game a lot of times can come down to specialty teams. I just want him to absorb it and enjoy it. Yanni's had such great success here. He's a huge part of 2 Stanley Cups with this group. So there's going to be emotions that come with that. I want him to absorb that, and he deserves to, enjoy this night. But I know, he's also going to be right at the front of the line in terms of, our competitive guys tonight. So, there's no way to breeze by that or manage it. We've got to, take it in, enjoy it, and I know that he'll be ready to play and play very well tonight. This team, has been together. They know how to play the game. They play very hard. So for us tonight, it's got to be a great road game. We've got to do a real good job managing the puck under pressure. It's another team that pressures the puck and takes away time and space very, very well. So we've got to do a really good job there. And make sure we give ourselves an opportunity to play in the offensive zone as much as possible.
You just heard from Dave Hakstol. A few things that I think are worth mentioning is that Dave Hakstol wants to see the special teams battle be won by the Seattle Kraken. He talked about everything being equal. It was special teams that differentiated a win from a loss for the Seattle Kraken, and that's more of what they have to see today. I broke down these numbers again, but just so you know, the Seattle Kraken overall on the power play are 21st in the league with a 17.5 success rate, whereas 13th overall sits Tampa with a 20% success rate. On the penalty kill, overall 18th in the league at 81% success rate for the Seattle Kraken, and 86% for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that's actually 86%, 81%. That's a difference. That's a massive difference. Whereas the Lightning are sitting in 6th and the Seattle Kraken are 18th. But here's the thing. The Seattle Kraken penalty kill is better on the road, is better at home. Whereas the Tampa Bay Lightning, their power play is better on the road. So these teams, their numbers kind of flip-flop in ways. So it's all about who's going to be able to kind of buck their trend a little bit and really get it done on the ice. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Seattle Kraken are enjoying momentum, but they're also now traveling. They're on the road. They don't have a great road record. A lot of the losses that they've accumulated have been on the road. And how much of that was because they started on the road? How much of that was they were in their funk while they were on the road? Was that just kind of a funk of the season? And are they good now? We still really don't know. But if the Seattle Kraken continue to play hockey like they did in the last 2 games, they grind it out, that team defense, getting in the slot, all of the things, I think we'll see good things to come. So here's what Marissa and Jemmy talked about regarding the lines and whatnot. You heard Dave Hakstol talk about there's still some decisions to be made now that they don't have Järnkrok in the lineup. Just scored and then, goes back on IR. But according to Marissa and Jemmy, you have Marcus Johansson, Wenberg, and Eberle with Tanev, Geekie, and McCann, Appleton, Gourde, and Schwartz. Donato, who we heard was going to come back in. Blackwell centering. We heard that Blackwell, Donato, they were going to have to play a different role. And then Donskoy with them, Alexiak and Gio, Larson and Lauzon, and then Dunn and Susi. So again, we miss out on Fleury. The power play is Donato, Wenberg, Eberle with Johansson and Gio, and the second unit of Geekie, Gourde, McCann, yikes, Schwartz, and Dunn. That sounds lethal. So Colin Blackwell at center. We'll see how that rolls out today. Roll out. roll out. I hope that you had a fantastic holiday, and honestly, that you're just living it up, keep enjoying what you're doing. We are going to have a post-game reaction. It'll be up sometime later tonight or early tomorrow morning. Hopefully it's reacting to a win, but we will see. As always, I want to thank you for listening to Locked On Kraken and making it your first listen of the day. We're doing things a little different for YouTube, but thank you for those who are watching and engaging on YouTube. It's been a lot of fun to read your comments and engage when I go live. I want to remind you that we have our Locked On Bets podcast. So after you make this your first listen, go listen to Locked On Bets with your boy Q and Lee Sterling, bringing you everything you need to know there. And as always, everything is free and available for you to enjoy anywhere you listen or watch video, audio, podcasts. We enjoy having a good time here at Locked On Kraken. I want to remind you, as I still have my Fear the Deep poster up here in New York, hold fast, stay true, and let's go Kraken!